Hello and welcome to News Now on TV360. I am Thelma Okoro. Nigeria President Muhammadu Buhari has signed the 2016 budget. The signing ceremony took place on Friday, and the Vice President Yemi Osinbajo and the Chairman of the National Assembly committees. The President had received a clean copy of the budget from the National Assembly on Thursday. Friday's signing brings an end to months of waiting for the President to approve the details of the 2016 budget. He had insisted he would not sign the budget in a hurry, but would critically review the document before approving it. The U.S. is seeking to approve a sale of as many as 12 light attack aircrafts to Nigeria to help in its fight against Boko Haram. U.S. officials have said the transaction was a vote of confidence in President Muhammadu Buhari's drive to reform the country's military and defeat Boko Haram. The attack aircraft to be sold is the A-29 Super Tucano. In the past, Washington has restated its commitment to help Nigeria end the Boko Haram insurgency as soon as possible by providing intelligence, surveillance, and additional training to Nigerian forces. The previous Nigerian government of President Goodluck Jonathan had scorned the U.S. for blocking arms sales partly because of the human rights concerns. The Saudi relations hit a new low at the end of 2014 when U.S. military training of Nigerian forces was terminated. The Nigerian military says it has rescued 34 women and girls with 28 children from Boko Haram in a village called Walasa in Nigeria's northeast region. They are currently being interrogated and profiled at the 7th Division headquarters in Maiduguri. A post-trauma center for the traumatized women has already been set up by the army, in addition to a general medical checkup. Hundreds of women and girls, including the Chibok schoolgirls, are still in Boko Haram captivity. On Thursday, the Nigerian army said it has rescued over 11,000 civilians held at various areas by the Boko Haram sect. The Nigerian army has inaugurated a court-martial to try 2 top military officers for violation of service discipline. Major General Ibrahim Sani, who was the chief of Army Transformation and Innovation Center, and Major General Patrick Falula, who was the commander of 68 Hospital in Yaba, will be tried for undisclosed offenses. According to sources, the accused are said to be facing charges for conduct unbecoming of military officers, punishable under the Armed Forces Act. The case has been adjourned to next week for arraignment and commencement of trial. A militant group known as the Niger Delta Avengers has blown up the Chevron valve platform in Delta State. The Defense headquarters confirmed the attack, although no word on how many people were involved has been released. It is the latest in a series of attacks on oil facilities since President Muhammadu Buhari vowed to treat vandals and saboteurs in the region as terrorists. The militant group has carried out similar attacks in Niger's oil-rich Niger Delta region. It claimed responsibility for the attack on the Forcados export pipeline, which led to a drop in power generation in Nigeria. The group says to also carry out more attacks on other oil installations outside the Niger Delta, such as in Abuja and Lagos State, to compel the government to meet their demands. One of such demands is greater control of oil revenues from the region. The United Nations Development Programme UNDP says it is committed to the baseline survey of social and infrastructure resource base in the Niger Delta region. It says the survey will provide the much-desired baseline data for Niger Delta development. United Nations representative Fatma Samura was speaking during a courtesy visit to the Minister of Niger Delta Affairs, Usani Uguru, in Abuja.
Currently, to reinforce the future, UNDP is lending support to your ministries through the establishment of a baseline survey of social and infrastructure resource base in the Niger Delta. And this survey will provide the much desired baseline data for Niger Delta development. Our institution will also continue to support the effort of your ministry to ensure accelerated but effectively coordinated development in the region. And we reiterate that this will promote sustainable peace and socio-economic well-being for the people of the area. UNDP continue to support the ministry since its creation, which include capacity building of the staff on program management, conflict prevention and community mobilization, but also for the creation of the ministry website, the development of the Niger Delta Collaborative Development Framework in partnership with the Foundation for Partnership Initiative in the Niger Delta, state and local government in the Niger Delta and other stakeholders. The Niger Delta Collaborative Development Framework proposes the formulation of the action plan in 4 critical areas, which are social sector investment, infrastructure investment, institutional development, and multi-stakeholders trust fund.
On institutional investment, we think there will be need for close relations and discussions. So we will always be able to point you to areas of our requirements, because while you are investing so much in us, we will not want any of the resources to lay redundant. So the objects of our focus should determine our policy direction at any given time, for which I believe you will readily intervene for us and will be grateful. In social investment, I think we are, in this very era, particularly very committed. The reason is that, in spite of what we want to achieve in terms of keeping peace to be able to operate in the region, except there is social ownership of the populace, this peace cannot be sustained. And it is when the people are able to appreciate that what is being done by government is in the interest of the people of the region, then shall they begin the protection of government interests in the area. And this is the reason we want to strengthen the informal household economies by laying emphasis on the strengthening of skills for women and their engagements as well. We are evolving a policy in the ministry that will suggest for every training segment we carry out, we want a terminal point of engagement for the people who are trained. So people are not just trained and left in the streets. And that will be a background fundamental to our policy shift, or expansion rather, not shift.
The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, have formally invited former PDP presidential campaign spokesperson Femi Fani-Kayode for questioning in its office. According to the anti-corruption body, Fani-Kayode had been invited because he had featured prominently in a case of criminal conspiracy, fraud and money laundering involving an organization identified as Joint Trust Dimension Limited. He has been ordered to report to EFCC's office in Abuja on the morning of May 9th for discussion. The former aviation minister has now responded to the invitation, saying he would assist the EFCC in its investigations. On Thursday, Fani-Kayode denied he had been invited for questioning by the EFCC. Nigeria's President Muhammadu Buhari has urged other countries and the United Nations to speed up the process of repatriating stolen money held abroad. Since taking office last May after winning an election largely on his vow to crack down on corruption, the president has sought help from several nations, including the United States and Switzerland, to recover money he said was stolen by public officials. President Buhari said the process of recovering the stolen assets had become tedious to the dismay of many Nigerians. He was speaking to the Executive Secretary of the United Nations Office for Drugs and Crime, Yuri Fedotov, who was visiting him. Minister of Transportation Rotimi Amechi has released a statement explaining his role in the leaked letter written by the Emir of Kano, Mohammed Sanusi II, to former President Goodluck Jonathan on the non-remittance of $49.8 billion by the NNPC to the Federation account. In a recent interview, the Emir of Kano, who was then governor of CBN, said the letter caused friction between him and President Goodluck Jonathan after Amechi leaked it to the public. However, Amechi denies secretly leaking the letter. Rather, he says he presented it to the public out of concern and patriotism. Sanusi was later suspended as the CBN governor, but a few months later, he was enthroned as the Emir of Kano while he was in court seeking his suspension be declared illegal. Minister of Finance Kemi Adeosun says the 165 billion naira monthly salaries to federal civil servants was overbloated and could no longer be sustained by the federal government. Adeosun, who was speaking on the economy reform agenda of the president, said that the 165 billion naira being paid to federal civil servants monthly represented 40% of the total spending of the Nigerian government. Nigeria, which is Africa's biggest economy and top oil producer, has been hit hard by the slump in oil revenues. The country relies on crude sales for about 70% of its government revenues. The Albino Foundation in Nigeria is celebrating the National Albinism Day in Abuja, the nation's capital. The foundation is also celebrating its 10th anniversary here in Nigeria. Speaking during the event, Jacob Pele, who is the Chief Executive Officer of the Albino Foundation in Nigeria, reeled out key areas of interest expected to help people living with albinism here in Nigeria survive independently.
We should be looking at achieving our 5 thematic area or thematic program. 1, social awareness, creating social awareness. We still have the issue of discrimination, stigmatization, workplace discrimination, relational discrimination, social discrimination, societal rejection. We go through these processes on a daily basis, and we are using moments like this to say enough of that. The society must respect us, and the albinos themselves have an obligation to also respect the society. So the second thing is the issue of skin cancer and our visual issues. You have heard from the 2 doctors. It is a major problem. Every albino is susceptible to skin cancer, irrespective of your status. You know, every albino struggles with his eyes. The third is education. Many of us want to be educated. We have very high rates of school dropouts. We have very high rates of not going to school at all. Many of our parents are still ignorant. They think that we have short lifespan, cannot live longer, so they don't send you to school. You know, but for the albinos themselves, my encouragement to you today is get education, get education, get education. With education, you will be less discriminated. With education, you have better chances in life. With education, you may not even have skin cancer. Many of us are struggling with skin cancer today because we are totally ignorant of what to do and what not to do. The third is policy. We need to be mainstream in several policies, existing policies, and where there are no policies, we need to formulate policies. The issue of economic empowerment. The albinos need to be empowered. They need to be given skill sets. They need to be given funds, if need be, where they can go into small businesses and become resourceful for themselves.
We'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll look at business and sports. Stay tuned.
Comedy time once again. Chapel of Comedy with Nehi, featuring Igor, Elenu, MC Abe, MC Shakara, Emeka Smith, Bash, and many more.
Music by Tim Godfrey. Special guest appearance from Motolai Kende, Charles Inoje. Venue, Golden Tulip, Amodofin Festive Town, Lagos.
Date 22nd May 2016. Time 5 p.m. Blue carpet 4 p.m. Ticket regular 2,000 naira, VIP 5,000 naira, table for 5 50,000 naira.
For ticket bookings and inquiries, please call 082-237-2051 or 089-187-1640. Powered by Gospel Life Entertainment. 100% clean joke.
Hello, you're welcome. You're watching the Funny White Man Show, which is the biggest, the brightest, and the most entertaining show in Africa.
Funny white man, but this way you talk, it's too much. Give me 5,000 man, that's you. It's too much. So you get it like, make you move along the street. Ah, yeah, me should like there, I'm going girl. You know, my own people. Actually, yeah, fine, it's fun. I enjoy it, and I'm one of those very few. I'm forever taking it personal. I will say 160 million Nigerians are corrupt. How? Brother, I'm looking for it.
Yeah, but it's a growth, and this is the time to build business. I know the pitfalls, I know what to do and what not to do. But there are months where you get business and months.
You know how we do, how we train them. We did the way you did.
Hello, you welcome. You watching Trending Matters on the Funny White Man Show. Of course, we will bring you trending issues just to entertain and tickle your fancy.
Welcome back. This is TV360 News Now. Nigeria's Naira remains steady at the official interbank window and on the parallel market. Traders also expect interbank rates to decline sharply in the coming weeks after President Muhammadu Buhari signed the delayed 2016 budget into law on Friday. The local currency was unchanged at 3.21 to the dollar on the parallel market. It was trading around the official peg of 1.97 at interbank market. The demand for foreign currency has pushed the Naira to its lowest point of all times. Nigeria's 2016 budget assumes oil production of 2.2 million barrels per day at $38 a barrel. This was revealed by the budget minister on Friday, shortly after President Muhammadu Buhari signed the delayed bill into law. The 2016 budget had been delayed for months as President Buhari had to withdraw the 6 trillion naira budget due to an unrealistic oil price assumption and flaws in the draft. Nigeria, which is Africa's top oil exporter, has been experiencing an economic crisis in the past year following the drop in crude oil prices. Oil makes up about 70% of government revenue. Oil prices fell on Friday as investors cashed in on a 20% rise over the past month. Brent futures were down 24 cents at $44.77 per barrel, while US crude traded at $44.07 a barrel. The dollar, which has a huge impact on greenback-denominated commodities like oil futures, was also on track for a weekly gain. This in turn weighed down oil prices. A senior UN official has said an airstrike on a Syrian refugee camp that reportedly killed at least 30 people could amount to a war crime. Stephen O'Brien, the UN Humanitarian Affairs Chief, called for an inquiry into the attack on the Kamuna camp in the northern Idlib province. Reports say the strike on the rebel-held area was by Syrian or Russian planes, but that hasn't been confirmed yet. Thursday's attack came a day after the extension of a truce was confirmed. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un has opened a rare party congress by praising his country's nuclear achievements. Appearing before thousands of delegates, he said unprecedented results have been accomplished. This year saw the country announce that it had tested a nuclear weapon and sent a rocket into space. The Showpeace Congress, the first in 36 years, is a chance for the North Korean leader to cement his power in the country. More than 100 foreign journalists were invited but were barred from the April 25th House of Culture, where the party congress is being held. Manchester United midfielder Marouane Fellaini and Leicester City defender Robert Huth have both been given 3-match bans by the Football Association after accepting violent conduct charges. Fellaini will miss United's remaining 3 league games of the season, while Huth will miss Leicester City's final 2 games and their first league fixture of next season. The referee did not see the incident, but video footage of the incident was reviewed by the Football Association. We've come to the end of News Now. We thank you very much for watching. I am Thelma Okoro.